Hey, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts Weinstein, and today we're going to talk about how to move your LLC to a new state, specifically under either conversion or domestication rules. So why would you want to move your LLC to a new state? Typically what happens is that you move to a new state. You're living somewhere else, and that's where you're running your business, and that's where you've moved everything about the business. So you want the business to be in that new state so you don't have to keep paying fees to both states. You don't want to have to pay all annual fees and taxes in the state that you originally were in, and then also have to pay all that stuff in the new state too if you're moving everything over for the logistics of the business. Now you can do a merger process in every state. That's a little bit more complicated. Today, what we're going to be doing is talking about how you use a conversion or domestication process to move your LLC from one state to another. Now, you could always just shut down your business in one state and reopen the business in another state legally. The issue is then you're forming a brand new business. So there could be tax consequences to that. And then there's also logistical consequences because you have to get a new EIN and a new bank account and new everything. You don't keep the credit rating of your business. You have to sign new contracts with all your vendors. I mean, it even though this process that we're going to talk about is a bit complicated, it is probably easier than shutting down and setting up a new business if the business has current clients, if it has customers, if it has a bank account, if it's making money, if it's an ongoing in business at this time. So let's get into the details. And what we're going to be looking at is I just picked two states, California and Nevada. If you were moving your business from California to Nevada, this is wildly different from state to state. And obviously I'm not going to do all 50 states because that would be, a gigantic number of videos. But the idea is this is an example of the process that I would use if I was moving an LLC from California to Nevada, so you can see what the process should be for your business. So step number one is that you need to look at your business and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, it's very common when people are moving from one state to another that something was messed up with their current business. There was some filing they didn't do with their own state. Their business isn't active. Their business is not in good standing. And you got to fix that before you do any of this other stuff. And it may take you weeks to fix that. So how do you check if your business is in good standing? Well, you go on the website for the Secretary of State of your state and you check if it's still in good standing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for my own business. Which it actually is a corporation, but it's the same process if you're an LLC corporation. So you go to the website for the California Secretary of State and you click on the little business tab. And then you can go on, scroll down and you can look for business search. So here I'm going to search my own law firm, which is a corporation, but it's the same thing. If it's an LLC, you just click the LLC and you search that to see, is it an active status? And yes, the status is active. So if your status isn't active, you have to fix that. It could be because of the tax filing or some annual filing that you missed. That's most likely what it's going to be. You pay that, you pay whatever late fees there are, and it will get fixed. It may just take a few days or a few weeks for it to be processed. So step number two is you're most likely going to need a certificate of status from your current state. What that is it's a document that you can give to the new state to show that there's nothing wrong with your current business, that it has active status. So how you do that depends upon the state, but in California, you literally just click a button. So you do that search that you just did and click on the name of your business, and it opens up the various documents that you filed and your address and all that kind of stuff. And then you can click on certificate of status and it will open up another screen where you can order that certificate. Now in California is one of only maybe 2 or 3 states where the certificate of status is not delivered immediately. In many states, when you order a certificate of status, you immediately get it. It's a PDF with it's certified and everything. But this is California, so we don't have that. They actually mail a paper document to you here. I suspect that, maybe by the time you're watching this video, they will have changed that and updated that process to be electronically delivered because so many other things they've updated in California. But as of today, they have not. So you would check this and go to the next screen. you check that it's the right entity, and then you fill in your payment information. And they will be mailing that to you. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So the next thing that needs to be done is the owners of the LLC have to approve this conversion domestication. So if it's just you, this is relatively straightforward and almost comical because you're just signing a document that says that you approve this. If it's multiple owners, multiple members of the LLC, then everybody needs to sign it. But you want to create some document that's your plan for conversion, your plan for domestication. I should put plan for conversion and domestication, that states that the members who have all signed this document have approved that this LLC is moving, redomesticating into another state. You may need to file this document in some states. In Nevada, you don't need to file it. However, in some states you do. So you have to look at that code section in that new state and see if you have to file it. And if you do have to file that plan, what needs to be included. In Nevada, however, and also in California, they're just requiring you to sign under penalty of perjury that 100% of the members of the owners have agreed to it. So in that case, you just want a document that memorializes that so you can prove it up later if it comes to be an issue. So once you've done that and you got that certificate of status, which is going to take time because it has come through the mail, the next thing to do is to file the documents in the new state. So let's say we're going to do it in Nevada. So we go to the Nevada Secretary of State's website and we click on businesses. And there's a pull down menu, but you can also just look down here. Now they do have filing online to create a new business in Nevada, but that's not for domestication things. This is something that is true in most states, is that while you can create an LLC online on their website, the online stuff doesn't apply to conversions, domestications, mergers, any of that. So you're gonna have to file paper documents. There might be places you can fax them. You might be able to file in person. Obviously, in the last couple of years, a lot of in-person things have been taken down. Otherwise, you're going to be needing to mail those documents. And if you're coming from California to somewhere else, since the California Certificate of Status is going to be delivered to you as a paper document, you're probably going to have to mail that in or take it in personally. So what do we do here? How do we find the information that we need for doing it in Nevada? Well, you scroll down and then you're looking here for either some kind of list of all the forms that are available or things that are just applicable to LLCs. So let's say we're going to manage a business. Maybe we'll manage a business and click on LLC and see what comes up. We're really looking for where are the forms of things you may need to file. Great. Okay, so here's all the different forms. The documents on this page pertain to managing an existing Nevada or foreign non-Nevada LLC, so that's us. That applies to this LLC that we're going to switch over. We look out on all the different documents, and then here we have domestication, and then we also have the code section. I suggest, this is going to be hardcore, but I suggest you look at the code section because it's going to tell you what stuff you actually need to file. Now, this is incredibly overwhelming. But we're looking for the word domestication. So way down here, domestication of undomesticated entities. That's the code section we need. And yes, this is very, very legalese, but it's going to have a list of the stuff you have to include. So you have to pay a fee. Okay, yeah. And you have to file these documents. All right, so you have to file the articles of domestication, which have to be signed by the authorized representative of the company. So you, the owner, signs it. The appropriate charter document for the type of domestic entity. So the formation document. So you file the domestication document, and then you also file the articles of formation or articles of, there's some thing you have to file that actually forms the LLC. The information required pursuant to this, so we'll click on that in a second. A certified copy of the charter document or equivalent, if any, of the undomesticated organization. Okay, so the original document that you filed and the certificate of good standing that we already talked about ordering. So what's the information pursuant to this? Let's look that up, that rule. 77.310. 77.310. That's appointment of a registered agent. I don't know why they couldn't just say that in the code section. But a registered agent is something, if you already have an LLC, you probably already have this. They don't have to do it in every state, but most states you do. Registered agent is some person or company who has a physical location that can accept legal documents on your behalf. You could personally be that registered agent for your LLC. The LLC can't be its own registered agent. Maybe it can be in some state, but usually it can't. So you can do it though as a human person, or you can hire a company to do it. I usually recommend Northwest Registered Agent Services, but you can also have your lawyer be the registered agent if your lawyer provides that. I actually don't provide that for people anymore, but you can have, sometimes your CPA may do it, or your bookkeeper. Sometimes your mail service company will do registered agent stuff just as an add-on. Your office sharing situation, like there's places that may do it. But if you have a physical location, if you have an office or some other facility, you may just do it yourself. Some people who work from home just do it also, but the issue is that address is publicly available, so you may not want your home address publicly available. Anyway, all right, so you need to have the information about the registered agent, either the commercial registered agent that you're hiring or your own self. All right, that's fine. So looking at this, not only we're going to need the certificate of good standing, but we're also going to need the original documents that we did to create that California LLC. Now what that was is, if we go back to, I'm going to go back and search, I'm going to search my corporation just to, and we search that and pull it up, you'll see that my original filing documents are actually something I can just download from the website. So it's a PDF right here, and it has a file stamp and all that kind of stuff. So this is, I created my corporation a long time ago. This is the document that you need. That's the original document. In this case, it's an Articles of Incorporation because I was forming a corporation, but it'll be the same kind of idea if you formed an LLC. So you need those two documents from California, the certificate of good standing, and your original formation document. And then what else did they say? They said the information about the registered agent, and then you need the articles of domestication and the formation documents for the LLC. In some states, you actually need some other things too. So it's important to look at the list for your specific state. Sometimes you don't have to pull up the code. Sometimes when you get the articles of domestication, it'll have instructions that tell you all the stuff you need. But if you look at the code, then you know for sure. And it has information about what needs to be included in the articles of domestication. But the great part is there's a form that has all that stuff in there. So we don't have to worry about creating something from scratch. I don't know if there's anywhere that doesn't have a form for domestication, but there's a lot of states that don't have a form for mergers or conversion. So you really have to look at if there's a specific list of what needs to be included, if you're going to have to create it yourself. Hopefully not. Hopefully you can use a form. All right, so let's go back to this list and look at, so what did we have to do? The domestication document. So this is a fairly simple document. We're doing the name of the entity before and the name of the entity after, the date and jurisdiction of the original formation, so California and then whatever date it was originally formed, a jurisdiction that constitutes the principal place of business, which is if you were physically located in California, it'd also be California, and then the authorized representative has to sign it. So now you also need the formation documents. So let's go back to starting a business, and let's say we're starting an LLC. So what do you need to create an LLC if you're filing it by paper? You need actually two documents. One is going to be the articles of organization, and then the other is going to be the initial or annual list and business license. In Nevada, business licenses are done on a state basis. And then your annual list of managers and members is like your annual report. That's like your statement of information in California. One of the ways that Nevada and California are different is that in California, business licenses are done on a local basis. It's usually with your city or town, where Nevada business license is done on a statewide basis. So let's pull up the articles of organization and then the initial list. So the articles of organization, name of the company, who your registered agent is going to be, is it going to be managed by a manager or members, the name and address of each manager or managing member, the signature of the organizer. The organizer doesn't have to be the owner. It could be a lawyer or somebody else. Then you're going to file the initial list. They actually put the initial list in this packet, so I guess you don't need the other document. So you have to file your initial list, The registered agent has to accept this. So if you use a commercial agent, you're going to be filing this by paper. You need that registered agent to send you this form already signed, and they will. Or if you're going to do it yourself, then you sign it, obviously, and you're just checking, putting in the address and the name and stuff like that. There's going to be some kind of document that is this is in case customer order instructions, some kind of cover page that goes with your filing. So you just put the name of the entity, how you want this stuff returned, if you like it emailed to you or mailed to you, and then your method of payment. So you can put in a credit card or you can write them a check. There is expedite options in most states, if not everywhere, and that costs a lot more money. It's the short version. And they'll do 1 to 2 hour expediting, 24-hour expediting. So it in most places costs significantly more money. Yeah, like 1 hour expedite costs $1,000 per filing. So I actually don't know if that's per document they file or not, but I don't know that if you have that kind of a budget, bless you. Then there's the form for if you're paying by credit card, and you can fill that out, or you can just write a check. It also will have a statement in here of all the different fees. So you would fill out all those documents, mail that into Nevada also with the registered agent, and then also with the 2 documents from California, and then wait to see if it worked. Hopefully it will work, and also with the payment too. Don't forget the payment because they will send it all back. Hopefully it works. Hopefully nothing gets rejected. Hopefully you wrote the check for the right amount of money, because you got to add up. Every single one of those filings has a different amount of money, so it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Then it gets accepted there. So let's just assume that happens. Now we're going to circle back to California, because the business has been switched to Nevada on that side and it's all finished. Now you have to do California. This may take weeks to get processed, okay? So factor that in, especially with California, where you have to pay $800 a year for the minimum franchise fee. If it's going to be clicking you over to another year, you have to do another $800. So, plan that accordingly, factor in how long it's going to take. So let's go back to California. Let's go back to the business and start at the beginning. So what do we need to file in California? So let's go to the forms. Filing online, it's not one of the options for filing online, so we have to find our form. Let's go to LLC Domestic and go all the way down to conversions. Okay, conversions. Conversion information. Signature requirements, I think that they are here saying all members, all owners of the LLC have to sign this document. And then California, so if the converted entity, so the entity at the end is going to be a foreign entity, then you're looking at this document here, the form CONV1A. The $30 filing fee, so not that bad. It has the instructions here. It's going, there's the cover sheet, of course, with your name, phone number, the name of the entity. Your entity number is like that little number that is when you do a search for your business, it'll come up there. Return address where you want them to send it to. All right, so the name of the converted entity, form of entity, jurisdiction, converting. Okay, so this is something that is kind of confusing to me. I always have to go back and think about it. Converting is the beginning entity and converted is the end. I wish they would just say that. Converting and converted somehow makes my brain not work. So converting entity is the one you currently have in California. So there you put the name of it, the form of it, where it's from, and the fact that everyone approved it 100%. Assuming that's true. Converted is where it's going to. Sometimes usually you're going to want to keep the exact same name, but sometimes you can't because that name is taken in the new place. So they have you put that there, form of entity, all the different addresses, and if the converting entity is a California corporation, LLC, LLP, or general partnership, you've designated agent, it's not going to be true for this because it's going to Nevada. And then you sign it. The authorized person signs this and sends this in with the cover sheet and I think it was $30. And then you see if it's approved by California. And it still needs to be an active company for them to approve this. So if you have any franchise fees due or any of that kind of stuff, or your statement of information is due or whatever, you need to make sure those things are getting filed in the meanwhile. This entire process is going to take weeks, maybe even months, because there's just so many things that have to get filed and they all have to be done by mail. Now, that's not true for every single state, but a lot of the states do this by mail still, as the time I'm recording this in 2022. So they typically are switching over their online filings, starting with the things that are filed most common, and then it's taking them longer and longer. But also because California still does their certificate of status by paper, and I think there might be one or two other states who do too. If you're coming from California, you're still gonna have to do it by mail because you can't take the paper thing and file it electronically. Anyway, hopefully some future year, this will get much more streamlined, at least so you can do electronic filing, and it will just take days instead of weeks or months. Now, once this is all done, your business is in that new state. You have the same EIN, the same bank accounts, all that same stuff. You will have to change the address everywhere, your mailing address and your business location address. You might have had to change the name of the LLC, even though it's the same LLC, so you'd have to update that everywhere if that's true. Again, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts-Weinstein. I hope this video has been helpful, even if you're not moving from California to Nevada, but you're moving from one state to another, so you can kind of see the process for that conversion or domestication. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below. I'll try to point you in the right direction. Thumbs up if you found this helpful. Subscribe if you like more videos like this, and sign up to join as a member if you'd like me to be able to make more videos like this for you. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.